5 most frightening camping encounters. Ever felt chills running down your spine when you are alone at night camping? You are not alone. What if I tell you that woods hold secrets that are better left undiscovered? Welcome, adventurers. Today, we are uncovering the 5 most frightening camping encounters caught on camera. And the last one is going to give you literal goosebumps. Let's begin. Case number 1. Louise. In January 2023, YouTuber Louise, aka Camper Vibe, from the UK spent 48 hours alone camping in the woods of Pluckley, United Kingdom. Louise didn't know that the place she had chosen to camp held a history for being the most haunted place in the UK. It was the place quite terrifying. What if she had known this information before? Do you think she would still go? She probably would, because even after knowing the truth about the place, she stayed there to complete her 48 hours. Let's get into what happened the first night Louise spent at that place. When she arrives, she seems to enjoy the peace and her solitude. After finding a tree for her hammock, she starts settling down other camping essentials and sets her campfire too. As soon as the night falls, the atmosphere gets a bit creepy. Initially, she was very calm and confident, but after hearing multiple creepy sounds while cooking for herself, she seemed to be a little scared, but she carried on. Later, she heard them again. She didn't really know if it was a kid screaming, a bird, or a train. The voices continued while she enjoyed her chocolate yogurt. Later in the night, when she was inside the hammock, she heard a lot of noises. It was heavy footsteps, and the voices repeatedly kept going on. She even mentioned that she had never wanted a morning this bad. It was completely horrifying. She was even scared to switch on the light. Later, when the voices calmed, she built up the courage to go and see outside, but she didn't see anything. Thankfully, she definitely was scared to death. Later in the morning, she learned that according to the Guinness Book of World Records, the forest was the most haunted place in the UK. When she discovered the place in the morning, she found some weird things, like a tilted old Bedford truck in the middle of nowhere, but she still managed to complete her 48 hours there. The next day went pretty normal. She went into her van, she had some breakfast, and explored the forest throughout the day. In the nighttime, she seemed more comfortable and familiar with the place. She set up the place with candles and sat across the campfire while she read more about these known ghosts. She did not seem scared at this point. In fact, she played her ukulele there and was a lot calmer. She slept peacefully throughout the night. In the morning, she woke up to frosty weather and decided to pack and leave early before it started to rain. So she blacked his bags and hammock whale, explaining about the previous night and how it went smoothly, and surprisingly, it wasn't noisy at all. Not even the usual sounds of twigs or animals. She admitted that was the scariest camp she had been in, but she enjoyed the experience nonetheless, and concluded by saying that she does not believe in ghosts. Case number 2. Josh. In September 2023, Josh from the YouTube channel Camping with Josh went to Woodland for solo camping as a weekend getaway from work. He came there straight from work. Initially, he seemed pretty fine and also joked around about Halloween as he encounters a white sheet on a tree. He finds a place and sets up his camp in a very secluded area with woods all around. However, when the night becomes dark and the weather becomes cold, he starts to get a little uneasy because of the mysterious noises he hears. He said he heard some cracking branches, but then he heard sounds of footsteps creeping in. He tries investigating what's happening around him, and he says that he saw something in the bushes. He felt like he had someone watching over him. You know this strong gut feeling you get that there is something abnormal? He runs back to his camp, decides to pack up and leave. Later, while telling what he exactly felt, he explained how this eerie silence and those creepy noises made him feel so unsafe and disturbed. He said he saw something in front of him, and at first he thought it was a tree, but then it dipped down and he also saw something moving in the bushes. When he decided to pack his bag and leave, he heard a dog's bark. He thought it might be some other camper's dog and he shouted hello, and there was no reply back. and the noises were constant. He shared that later, when he was on the way back, he felt something following him, and the dog's bark was still there. He felt a sudden chill, and without a second thought, he ran away from the area, shaken, but sure that he made the right decision, trusting his gut feeling. It's moments like these your instincts can be the best guide to stay safe. Case number 3. Grizzly Gaz. In July 2022, the well-known YouTuber Grizzly Gaz takes us through his unwavering experience of camping at a place he is quite familiar with, and he has gone there camping multiple times. The camp spot is located deep in the valley, a local woodland, despite being a familiar place. This time, something was different. He was extremely terrified. His unsettling experiences starts normal as he settles down camping at his usual place. Everything is going well as he sits back and drinks his beer. A few noises here and there, and he becomes alarmed. He then cooks himself dinner, eats it, and goes back to the hammock. Although his voices seemed pretty normal at first, but later it felt like the sound of heavy footsteps and other unexplained noises. The voices intensified, making him extremely anxious. Gaz felt like something was present there, and at one point he was also deciding whether to stay or to leave. The strange voices continued throughout the night, keeping him awake. At one point he also went out to investigate but found nothing. But he continuously felt someone's presence. The creepy voices were not settling down, and he said he experienced the most terrifying night of his life. Although he was very scared throughout the night, he still somehow managed to stay there and complete his adventurous camping night, which left a lasting impression on him. Case number 4. The Hoggett Project. In August 2024, Travis from the YouTube channel The Hoggett Project went camping in Washington. He planned to visit a new spot somewhere in between the mountains and quickly found a place near a stream to camp and started putting his camp essentials around. Everything seemed fine until he settled down there. He started to hear weird noises coming from a distance and then coming closer. At first, he assumed that it might be the animals because he was sitting too close to the stream, but later he realized there was more to it. The sounds were very unlikely and weird. Slowly, the creeping voices became creepier, and he did not feel good about the place, so he decided to head back and cancel the camping. This was not what the scariest part of the night was. There is more to it. He packed his things and headed back. When he reached the road, he saw a very mysterious thing standing at the corner of the road. Whatever that thing was, it was standing head tilted to a 45-degree angle and remained frozen to its place. He was so scared of what he just saw. It wasn't a human, or maybe it was. But if it was a human, where did it go? He shared his experience of how he stood there for a while looking at that unknown thing, and one moment he saw it, and the other moment it was not there. It disappeared, leaving him with chills. He was so shocked at what just happened to him, but he managed to return safely and claimed it would be the most terrifying experience ever. Case number 5. Exploring with Bear. In February 2024, Jay Bear from the YouTube channel Exploring with Bear went solo camping deep in the woods. His experience was going pretty smoothly in the start. It was dark, and he set his camp. He was doing just fine. From setting up camp to lighting a campfire, he was having the time of his life, solo adventuring in the middle of nowhere. Then later, he walks out of his camp to record the offering tree. This is where he catches some abnormal things on camera. Something very strange passed by and flew immediately. He thought of it as an animal or maybe a monster limb and kept recording the tree. Later, he came back in and tried to sleep. He almost slept when suddenly some faint, eerie noises began to echo in the distance, creeping in closer with every second. And in no time, he felt a chilling presence outside his tent. He was terrified, but remained silent. Then, suddenly, whatever it was outside, it started throwing things on his camp. He was being attacked. At one point, he was so scared, and the attacks were so harsh that it almost gave him a heart attack. He even shouted, "I am armed," but the attack continued for some more time. And then it was over. He was standing between life and death. And so, 5 minutes later, he decided to leave immediately. leaving all his things as is. He left that day, and 7 days later, when he built his courage and showed back to the place, he saw complete chaos. The trees around his camp were destroyed, and his tent was all sliced through with a giant cinder block over it, which made it clear that someone was planning to attack him. As he stood there, staring at the wreckage of what could have been his final resting place, one chilling truth echoed in his mind, that leaving that night hadn't just saved him from a haunting encounter, it had saved him from certain death. That's enough goosebumps for today. If you like this video and want to watch more such content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Happy sleeping.